Seattle. They beat the Panthers. I mean, I don't know what's to be expected of the Panthers. Andy Dalton at the helm this game. They needed this game. Seattle's 2-1 now. What are your thoughts on this game, Rich?
Mitchell, my thoughts, your boy, Kenneth Walker III, showing up again.
K9.
Another week, 2 TDs. You saw him in the pass game. You saw him in the run game. Gino threw for almost 300, Mitchell. Oh, it was here, and then it was there, and then you had DK, kapow, on the run, sidearm. Oh, Gino! Like, Mitchell, it looked good, but it still was a close game. But then you look up and you're like, who are they missing defensively? Reek is missing, Mitchell. Jamal Adams supposed to come back offensively. They're still missing both tackles. Charles Cross potentially coming back next week. Abe Lucas is still on IR. So for them to be able to do this undermanned was impressive. People are not giving the Carolina Panthers a lot of respect because of who, obviously they got a poor roster, not a lot of known names, but Andy Dalton can still slang it. He can still move the football, throw the football around the yard, and he showed it again. They would have been better off going against Bryce Young because at least you got a young guy who hasn't seen these looks before. Andy Dalton, he get out there, he say, hey, y'all gonna let me throw it? I'm gonna get 350, 400 out of this. And he did. He was able to move the ball around. Adam Thielen had a really good game, another veteran. They found some holes in the defense. They attacked the rookie, Spoon. He got some good learning lessons this week, playing on the outside, playing a lot of snaps because Reek was out. But they looked good. I think this was a really good game. Play calling from Hurt. I'm sure there was things they want to clean up, things they can execute better. I thought offensively, Shane Waldron put on a clinic, absolute clinic, being dynamic, creative with what they did offensively, moving people around, how he got Kenneth Walker the ball in space. Jaron Reed, this was a good game for him, 1.5 sacks. It just always feels good to get in the link. And then it was a great game for the 12s. The 12s, Mitchell. Mm-hmm. Hey, there was when I stopped counting, Mitchell, there were 8 false start penalties. The record is 11. They were trying to close in on the record. They were rattling them boys. And Ejiro Evero, the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, was out there doing a lot with a little. And we're going to talk about him a little later in the show.
Well, Richard, the Seattle Seahawks get another, I don't want to call it easy game, but it's looking pretty damn easy. On primetime, Monday Night Football against the Giants next week, could we be looking at 3-1, you think, Rich?
So we could easily be looking at 3-1. We could easily look at 3-1. And what's crazy, Mitchell, for the Dallas Cowboys, we could easily be looking at 2-2. And if that happens, whoa.
Yeah,
because
this NFC East, Rich.
The blueprint is out there, Mitchell. What do you got to do to beat the Dallas Cowboys? As my guy Mike Irvin says, you got to be physical. You got to be physical. Run the ball down their throats until they stop you. They ran for 185 yards in the first half, the Arizona Cardinals did. 185, Mitchell. You think Bill Belichick isn't sitting there like, we got a few of those runs. We got a few things we can do with that. Hey, we may not push the ball down the field as much. We may. Every week is different for New England Patriots. But defensively, I know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to take away CeeDee Lamb. They're going to make everybody else beat them. And they're going to stop the run. And they're going to say, Dak, good luck. Drakkar Noir, baby. For a limited time, you can save 40% on an NFL Plus premium annual subscription when you sign up through Plus Play from Verizon. Plus Play is a platform where you can shop, manage, and save on the subscriptions you already love, like NFL Plus. With NFL Plus Premium, you can get access to live games on mobile, NFL Red Zone, NFL Network, and much more. So you can watch multiple games all at once on any screen around you for updates. Never miss a touchdown. And for fantasy players, NFL Plus Premium makes all the difference. Access to programming like Fantasy Live through NFL Network, Red Zone for tracking player performance on Sundays, access to live, local, and primetime games, access to Fantasy Plus, Just go to Verizon.com/NFL to get NFL Plus Premium today. It's 40% off for an annual subscription. That's just $59.99 for the full season. Get it before it's gone.
Richard, the other game I've been anxious to talk about because we just had him on the podcast earlier this week. Your boy, your former teammate, Raheem Mostert, the Miami Dolphins, 70 points, Rich. 70-20 against the Denver Broncos. And we got to, before we get into this game, we got to acknowledge our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. This week's Making It Look Easy Player of the Week brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. It's got to be, Rich. It's got to be your boy, Raheem Mostert. He made it look way too freaking easy. 4 tutties, Rich, against these Broncos. Last year's defense would not have given up 4 touchdowns, but this year's defense, hey, here's the end zone. Enjoy it. Richard, your thoughts on Raheem Mostert, your boy? 82 rushing yards, 7 receptions, 60 yards. What do you have? 4, 5 tutties? What? Talk
Mitchell,
about your boy.
I thought Oprah must have been out there because it was like, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown. Mitchell, 2 players, not just one, not just Heem. Heem had 4 touchdowns. Heck of a game, Heem. But Devon or Kane. At Kane, 18 rushes, 203, 2 rushing touchdowns, 4 receptions, 30 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Mitchell, that's 4 as well. And then you throw in the guy you gotta be that has you like this all game, and that's Tyreek Hill. He has your stress, Mitchell. He has your stress, and he only had a touchdown, but he had 9 catches for 157 and a tug, but Heem was doing it every which way. 7 catches for 60 yards, 13 rushes for 82 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Mitchell, what's concerning, the most concerning thing about this is people are going to blame Russell for this. And it's not his fault. He played a pretty good game. He had the touchdown. He turned it over once, but he threw for 300. Some of those were garbage time yards, but he played a pretty solid game. This is one of his better games as a Denver Bronco, but it's the thing that always happens, Mitchell. When you get one side playing great, other side folds. Last year, he didn't play so great, and he let the defense down multiple times, over and over. This year, he's playing good. The defense is letting him down in a major way, Mitchell. In a major way. And I like Sean Payton. I really like Sean Payton. He's a friend. We have good conversations. But during training camp, he showed the video of the Bronco driving off the cliff. And it ended up being way more symbolic than it needed to be, Mitchell. It was supposed to be last year's Broncos. That's this year's Broncos, Mitchell, off the cliff, because last year's Broncos didn't start 0-3. They were 2-1, battling. Every week they were battling. Whether they won by 1 point, lost by a point, it was a dogfight every week. They lost multiple games by 1 score. They lost a bunch of 1-score games, probably like 5 or 6 of them. They got blown out one time in the season against the Rams. I think it was 51-14. That was 37-point blowout. But they didn't never get beat by 50, Mitchell. They did not get beat by 50. They did not get 70 points put up on them at any time. When 70 points get put up, I apologize to defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, but heads got to roll. Somebody got to go. Mitchell, 70 points with that talented of a defense. You got the best corner in the National Football League. Justin Simmons, one of the best safeties in the National Football League. You got Randy Gregory. You got talent on that defensive line. DJ Jones. You got players. So it's not like you're sitting there with the Arizona Cardinals roster, with the Carolina Panthers roster, where it's like, hey, they just don't have the guys. They don't have the playmakers. They don't have the guys to get this done. They have the guys. And so that's concerning. But another thing is Sean Payton said some things about Tua Tagovailoa that he may not have approved of, Mitchell. He said in a couple games, they're probably going to replace him with Teddy Bridgewater. Like, they'd probably be better off playing with Teddy Bridgewater. Well, guess what? He heard you, and then he shredded your defense. He didn't throw an incompletion, I think, until the second half. He was 17-17 before he threw an incompletion and ended up 23 of 26 for 309, 4 touchdowns, 155.8 passer rating. Mitchell, on 26 passes, 158 is perfect. My goodness. Like, he can't throw the ball in his backyard and have that much perfection. He can't go routes on air and make it look that good. And then you got Chosen Anderson, who get in with my boy Mike White, and then they go for another one. Like, they kneeled the ball when they could have went for the record. But I don't want to hear it about Russell Wilson in this week, Mitchell, or these games. He's actually played some pretty solid football. The defense has played, I'm trying to find the word. Porous, awful,
horrendous.
Like, it's been really bad, and they have too many good players to play this bad. And so you go from Ichiro Evero, who's now with the Carolina Panthers, who's probably going to get a head coaching job soon, to Vance Joseph, who has coordinated some really good defenses in the past with the Rams. He's coordinated a Super Bowl defense before, but what he's doing right now will get him sent home. And Sean Payton has to be shivering in his boots because he talks so bad about Nathaniel Hackett. And you can't. Nathaniel Hackett at this point of the season last year was 2-1. Was 2-1. So if you're going to sit there and talk about a guy that's 2-1 and you're 0-3 and just got beat by 50, you'll likely get your first win next week against the Bears. You'll likely get it, but you still got a tough road after that. I think you got the Bears and then Kansas City. And if you let Andy Reid is going to be looking at that like, hey, he let Miami put up 70. Miami's a great team with a great offense, but he's like, we can do it too. And they're in Kansas City, I believe. Oh, man, Mitchell, I think I might be at that game. Is that Thursday game? It might be a Thursday game, Mitchell. It might be the one I'm at, Mitchell. Oh, my God, Mitchell, I think it's the one I'm at.
You're going to witness it firsthand, Rich. There's a couple other things here, Rich. If you're living in Colorado right now and you're a fan of the Colorado Buffs and the Denver Broncos, it's been a rough weekend for you. We're sorry. Richard, let me break down these 70 points scored for you real quick. It's the most scored in an NFL game since 1966, right? 19 teams in the NFL thus far this season haven't scored 70 points combined on the year. Richard, this looked like a high school game. This looks like your standard high school game, right? Like, who's going to let off the gas pedal first, right? And the coach just finally says, hey, you know what? Enough's enough. Let's put in the third stringers. This game was consistency, quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter. Miami Dolphins, they look legit, Rich. Tua Tagovailoa looks legit, Rich. Is he a true MVP candidate right now, or is this an overreaction?
Mitchell, unless somebody's speaking about a game that's other than football, you better put him in it. I mean, because at first it was like, oh, you know, he's got Tyreek, and Tariq's doing it. And Tariq had a pretty good game, but he threw 4 touchdown passes. He threw them to 2 backs. He was out here looking like Mahomes with the flick. I think they put that in just so he could make one look sexy because he did it twice. He said, no look, have that. Have that. And the young kid, Devon Achane, I may be saying his name wrong. I apologize.
Devon Achane, Rich.
Devon Achane went off. And I can't wait to argue with Skip about it because I'm going to use the name Devon Achane because you talk about Tony Pollard. You talk about Christian McCaffrey. I'm not going to put him in there. He's more like a Devon Achane, but he's not even there because Devon Achane probably has Tony Pollard's full season stats in that one game. And it's looking crazy, Mitchell. It's starting to sound crazy. Am I crazy? I might be crazy, Mitchell.
You're not crazy. I'm crazy because I dropped Devon Achane from my fantasy roster going into this weekend, Rich. Can you believe that? 55 fantasy points in PPR for Devon Achane. Richard, let's move on. Hey, before we move on, that whole segment, the Dolphins made it look easy. Our friends at Morgan & Morgan make it look easy every week. This has been the Making It Look Easy, brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Go to forthepeople.com/Sherman or dial pound law. That's pound 529. Winning in the NFL is hard, but hiring at Morgan & Morgan
is easy.
Super easy, Rich.